Hey everybody, welcome to Rock Around the Ring. I am Kid Cadet, joined always by the fantabulous Miss Sweet D, Danica Janelle. How you doing, girl?
Pretty great. I'm in a room instead of in a car for the first time in many weeks, so it's very exciting. I've got a brewery behind me and everything. It's great.
Fabulous. All right. Well, without further ado, let's bring out our guest of honor. You know him and you love him. He is the one and only Lloyd Kaufman. Big
Wow.
finish.
Welcome.
I mean, I tell you what, I can't do that.
The only thing I've done, I took lessons in like third grade and eighth grade, and I haven't looked at this thing for 60 years.
That was pretty good, Lloyd.
The magic of COVID makes you unable to do anything slightly constructive. So that's all.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we appreciate that intro. So I think Danica played the flute in high school, and I played the trumpet, but we weren't as good as you, Uncle Lloyd. That was fantastic.
That's great. I played a little spoon flute when I was at Yale, but that's about it. Excuse me. Sorry, I apologize.
No apologies necessary. We love it. So kind of to get started, we're kind of in the thick right now of Tromoween. So what can you tell us about Tromoween?
Well, we've had the good fortune to be in demand at drive-ins. Our movies like The Toxic Avenger and Class of Nukem High and Tromeo and Juliet, which were made more than 30 years ago, are being run in drive-ins. They've been doing pretty well. So lucky us, we're getting drive-in bookings, and the Bel Air Diner in New York is a landmark. They also, by coincidence, I didn't even know it, but they catered our movie, hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm, and apparently our cast and crew would go there after 3 in the morning and get they have a bar there, of course, and work on the script. No, I'm joking. Get totally flat. The next day, they just reek of could light their breath on fire. So the Diner is going on now. It's hashtag Tromoween in hashtag Troma Queens, New York, at the Bel Air Diner. Nothing could be finer. All October, and there's a mutant hunger canned goods drive, and I think we've gotten about $50,000 in. People donating canned goods. You get drinks for $1 if you come and bring some baked beans or something that you don't like.
Easy enough.
That's amazing.
It's a staple of Troma's set. We have a lot of farting in the movies. We got plenty of baked beans.
So Lloyd, you mentioned Tromeo and Juliet and Shakespeare Shitstorm. So I was wondering, did you have a love for Shakespeare growing up? And what is it about Shakespeare that you find so fascinating, especially to convert into other mediums?
Well, that's a really good question. There's a visceral enjoyment of Shakespeare, and I wouldn't have considered it, but there was around 1990, there was a retrospective of our movies, Troma movies, in the British Film Institute. And they went on. They had to. So during the day, they took me around to do a little sightseeing, and I had not been to Stratford on Avon, and they brought me there, which is Shakespeare's birthplace, Danica, and
Danica works.
Shakespeare's spirit entered my soul, entered me, and that's when I made the decision to create Tromeo and Juliet. I can't tell you from which orifice Shakespeare's spirit exited my soul. The result is now hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm, which is based on The Tempest, my favorite play.
Yes.
And,
yeah, that's a good one.
Oh yeah, it's perfect for me and Troma because it's trippy, and I wanted to wait till I was old so I could really feel Prospero's emotions. And, it's got a monster in it, and, it's a perfect Troma vehicle. So
Agreed.
We wrote Poultry Guys together. He and I came up with a little help from Shakespeare. Came up with the adaptation, and then Brandon Bassam, who has made a couple of films for us, he wrote the screenplay. I think it's definitely my best.
That's amazing. Yeah, and of course, like, cheap plug for Danica, because you work with the Houston Shakes company, right, Danica? So like you're
maybe if it gets back on its feet next year, you know.
What's your favorite Shakespearean play?
Well, my favorite Shakespeare is Titus Andronicus, to be honest.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a very
it's full of blood. It's amazing.
The version by what's her name, who did the Beatles movie?
Julie Taymor.
Julie Taymor, she's a genius.
I love her version with Anthony Hopkins. It is a brilliant version. Yeah,
she did 100%. A great job. There aren't too many good Tempest versions. There's one by. She
did a version.
Pardon?
Julie Taymor did a version of it.
Of the Tempest. Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean it's questionable, but she did one.
It didn't hang together, but she's a genius no matter what. And if they would have let her continue on Spider-Man on Broadway, I'm sure that play would have been much better than. I didn't see it, but it flopped. But I'm sure it wouldn't have flopped if they would have let her have her
finish
artistic freedom. But that's not how it works.
Very probably.
Not how it works.
Definitely. So, okay, the next question is, so obviously you got the opportunity to work with the fantastic Lemmy from Motorhead for Tromeo and Juliet. So when did you first meet Lemmy, and do you have any Lemmy tales?
I first met Lemmy. There's something called the American Film Market, which is going to start any day now. And it's the trade association for the independent film community around the world, about 200 independent companies. Most of them are very small, and most of them are sales agents or kind of the distribution side. And the American Film Market, these companies, including some of the big ones, are selling movies to foreign international buyers who come and look at it. A hotel is converted into offices. Bedrooms are made into offices, and the distributors look at trailers and blah, blah, blah. And Lemmy appeared in our office one day. We had the guy who worked for us in Los Angeles at the time. We're based in New York. And David Schultz, who worked for us in Los Angeles, somehow he and Lemmy hooked up, and I don't remember why, but Lemmy turned out he was a fan, and he was obsessed with our earlier films, especially Blood-Sucking Freaks, which is, horrible. If I made that movie today, it would, and I didn't make it. I would never have made that film, but it's one of our more profitable movies. But it's funny as hell. But it's definitely not. I would think we'd be canceled real fast if it came out today. Now it can be looked at as a sign of the times, like Woody Allen's Banana that makes jokes about child molesting.
Right. Right.
Some really terrible misogynistic humor in it, and I think certain people can get it and understand that it is not. Joel Reed, the guy who made it, didn't hate women; he was having fun with it. But today we have free speech as long as we don't say anything. At any rate, Lemmy showed up one day and he talked about some of our other films, and we were about to shoot Tromeo and Juliet, and. Next thing, he came to New York, and stupidly, we gave him the part with the most words. And he's kind of one of these drugs. And we also chose as his location Times Square. So he was up on a truck or something, and people are yelling, and we couldn't get any sound tapes. He was in about 10 of our movies, and toward the latter part of our Lemmy partnership, we gave him subtitles. If you see "Return to Nukem High" and "Return to Nukem High," he's got subtitles. But he was a very sweet man, really nice guy. They never, we used Motorhead music, and I don't think they ever charged us for Sacrifice or. There's a Lemmy music in I think Shakespeare's Shitstorm. I think one of the songs there. Yeah. And Return to Nukem High. Lemmy plays the President of the United States, and Return to Nukem High. He's also in that one, and we gave him subtitles. But Terra Firma, he was really pretty crazy, and we needed. I don't know if you've seen the film, but there was a scene where our big fat action star, 500-pound Joe Fleischer, who gets eaten up in an escalator, and we wanted to shoot the real escalator stuff before Fatso gets eaten by the escalator rather. And Emmy was we made him a newspaper reporter, and this was the only place in New York City, the Alliance Française, the French Cultural Center, that would let us use an escalator for free. And because the French like Troma movies, and so he wants the air conditioning turned on, which does not exactly please the sound man. So we didn't turn the air conditioning on. And then he's lighting up cigarettes, and we can't smoke in there. We get kicked out. And finally, I got into a big back and forth, and it ended up being pretty big. He walked off. We got one little scene with him, and then he just, Troma, I'm finished with Troma. I have no more Troma. That's the end of it. So we sent the behind-the-scenes camera to follow him for the rest of the day. And he went to some radio station, and he was furious. I don't know what. Too crazy for him or something.
Oh yeah, right.
But anyway, we made up. He's a very sweet guy, totally nice guy, and very wise and decent and intellectual. He's quite an expert on the history of war. And one of our guys in Los Angeles saw his apartment. I think it was out near Santa Monica, and apparently it was full of military uniforms and military memorabilia, mainly Nazi stuff. And I know he didn't worship Nazism; he had nothing to do with it. But it is a fascinating period, and whether you like Hitler or not. And in fact, I've got Leni Riefenstahl papers here. Leni Riefenstahl, who created propaganda film for Hitler.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Hang out with us here in New York. And she saw the first screening of Toxic Avenger. My father took her to the very first screening of Toxic Avenger. But we've got books signed by her. I've got quite a stack of various letters that she wrote back and forth. My stepmother, who just died, is who Shakespeare Shitstorm, hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm is dedicated to, is one of the people who was her good friend. They met in Paris, and people here were bootlegging her movies, and she was like, when my father met her, she was well into her 80s, and she was a true genius. As a woman, if she had come to the United States, she would have been cutting negative or doing something menial, whereas there she was directing movies and having a good time, and maybe she even boffed Hitler. I think she was just an artist trying to do her art, and there's no messages in her movies. If you look at Olympiad, which is the beautiful Olympics of 1936, I mean, it's just poetic. It doesn't say kill the Jews or anything, She just tried to work her way between, and keep going. What are you going to do? In fact, the American studios were more into Hitler than she was. They all conformed to Germany's script revisions. And like we're doing today, the big studios with China, a genocidal dictator, they're all kowtowing or filleting the Chinese genocidal dictator. So, in the fullness of time, she did serve her time. She was put in jail, and she served her time. And she had a pretty stellar career afterwards. She took photographs of the newer tribes in Middle Africa, and where I spent a year just by coincidence. And she also, at 84 years old, she got her scuba diving. Well, I shouldn't keep talking about her, but she got her scuba diving.
It's okay. And
she again wrote a book of her. It's a cocktail table book. Magnificent photographs, beautiful. You never know she's part of something to eradicate the Jews.
Wow.
I shouldn't joke about it. What are you going to do?
No. What are you going to
do? Mel Brooks made the producers, and I think that says it all. And he did it in
the world.
1958. I don't think Mel Brooks could make The Producers or Blazing Saddles today. And Woody Allen couldn't make Bananas today because it has all sorts
I think
of
you're
jokes.
probably right.
Fair.
So I have a question that's, of course, dear to my heart because I am a director. I'm more in the theater world. But I'm curious, of course, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are curious, if you have any directors in the world that inspired you to become a director.
As a movie director?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, let me say that the Toxic Avenger, which is kind of our Mickey Mouse, he's better known than most of the stars that were heavily promoted in 1983, and we had no advertising, and he still gets booked into theaters. The Toxic Avenger was made. It's the only movie I know of where a young boy's head is squashed by the wheel of an automobile. That was made into a delightful, politically correct children's environmental cartoon show, Saturday morning cartoon show, and about 200 products for children, and Marvel Comics and all sorts of other stuff. But it was made into a Broadway musical and played in London's West End.
It's really fun too. I really like that show.
Joe Rando, I don't know if you know Joe Rando. He did Urinetown. You know him?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The New York version went a year, and Bon Jovi's keyboard guy, original member of Bon Jovi, David Bryan, and Joe DiPietro, both of whom have won Tonys. They wrote the play. They did a great job. They brought the humor of Troma into a more mainstream way, so that in the audience we'd have people with things in their noses and tattoos, and as well as little old ladies, matinee crowd. And it was the only thing. The New York show was the only thing that my wife could take her friends to see without them leaving the huge brown things in their pants. And the London West End too. It played in 2 theaters in London. One kind of a test theater. I can't remember the name of it. And then went on the West End for quite a while. So
I work at a high school camp, like it's a summer camp for high school kids that they did a production of it.
That's great. Where was this?
It's at Stage Door Manor up in it's the summer camp that's like that's where you send your children if you're a celebrity. So.
West Coast or East Coast?
It's up in the Catskills. Yeah.
My brother and I went to a theater camp, Camp Dartmouth. Like 7th. I was probably 8th grade, and he was 6th grade. And that's why we couldn't act.
Well, speaking of acting, obviously you've appeared in quite a few films, including your own. Do you have a film that stands out to you as the most fun to act in, where you could really just let go and just act?
Well, other people's movies are fun because I don't have to worry about the porta potties or the where the truck's going to be parked, so they won't be in the shot. And what's then wait, where's the lunch? Where's the, that kind of stuff. I could just kind of have a good time, watch the young people making their movies, and learn from them, because all my work is up until Return to Nukem High and Return to Nukem High are 35 millimeter, and so recently it's those 2 movies and #Shakespeare Shitstorm are digital. So I don't know how to edit on digital. I don't know how to do a lot of stuff with digital. So I have to have a lot more young people helping me. And also I saw my Make Your Own Damn Movie books are heavily informed by these young people who have stuck me in cameos and what have you. And I've interviewed directors and producers, Oscar-winning producers, James Gunn, who did Guardians of the Galaxy, who wrote Tromeo and Juliet. And all the way down the food chain to the guy making a movie about his hamster, a one-man operation kind of, where he made his own dolly and his own crane, and I was in a short that he made, and he made a documentary about me. He's in Indiana, and I can't quite remember his name, but it's my Make Your Own Damn Movie books, of which there are 4. Also, the Troma Now, our streaming service, first month is free. I hope you could mention this. Maybe watch.troma.com is how you subscribe. But the first month is totally free. there are lots of examples of these younger people and how they have solved problems in the age of digital very, very successfully and very cleverly, because they know how to do CGI, they know how to write music, they know how to do blue screen, green screen. They're multitasking, which in my day that was very unusual.
Awesome.
But if you guys could mention that support right now is Troma Now.
There you go.
There you go.
We've got it now at the bottom of our screen.
If you want to join, it's watch.troma.com. And thank you. First month is free. Thanks a lot.
Fabulous. Well, thank you for making the first month free. Thank you.
Yeah.
You can see it. And I have a lot of my I have a lot of the make your own damn movie lessons, as I say, from the bottom up to people like Stan Lee and others, Eli Roth. And then there are also feature-length documentaries about the making of film. And like Poultrygeist has a documentary, Poultry in Motion, Truth is Stranger Than Chicken. And the last 7 or 8 movies, they have wonderful documentaries, which in my opinion are worth at least a year of film school. There's no puff piece. It's all truth. You see people punching each other. You see you really see the curtain raised. And you see me as kind of a, douche, asshole.
Stop.
No joke.
Never.
We don't believe it.
Poultrygeist behind the scenes is hilarious. There's one, we just issued the Blu-ray for Return to Nukem High. And it's also rather amusing and very, very instructive. It's really, you learn what you don't learn in film school from the Troma 90-minute documentaries. 2 Girls, 1 Duck is the name of the from Return to Nukem High. But they're great. They're all wonderful documentaries. You will enjoy them.
Fabulous.
That's wonderful. Well, Heather, shall we?
What?
Well,
you want to do the game or
do our game?
While we've got you, Danica, what kind of shows are you a musical person or are you?
Usually I do straight plays. I tend to go a little on the darker side. I mean, if I were to do a musical, Toxic Avenger would probably be high on my list.
Well, only other one. There are only 5 people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's brilliant the way they change characters. It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. I had nothing to do. I cannot take any credit for that at all.
It is really, really great.
I was going to say.
Huh?
No, I was going to say, Danica, you were actually going to ask him, what of your other films do you think would make for a good musical?
It's true, yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know. David Bryan, the Bon Jovi guy, wrote in the book, the souvenir book, when he was 12 years old, he saw The Toxic Avenger, and right then and there, he knew he wanted to make a musical. And by coincidence, I just had a gut feeling it would work. No, actually, some fans approached me who had worked for us, and one of them wanted to make a musical. And then there was another guy who my literary agent knew, a more professional guy, who did write a whole musical with songs and everything, and but he wanted to do it on a higher scale. And we had you can see it. You can see on Make Your Own Damn Movie. On the Troma Now, you can see how we tried to raise money with investor auditions. We had some off-Broadway actors, and they sang the songs and blah, blah, blah. Of course, huge failure. But that guy went on to put on his Toxic Avenger in Omaha, Nebraska. We didn't charge them anything either because they had no money. And the same with the young people from Poultrygeist. They lived in you see either Seattle or Portland. I think it was Portland. And they put on the Toxic Avenger Music Kill, Kill. And I went to it, and there was no money at all. And the songs were funny and clever, and and I told Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they showed up and enjoyed it. And the one in Omaha, 7 weeks, got good reviews. And then these Broadway producers caught wind of it, and then they did give us a few bucks to license the project and start from bottom up, totally redo their own version of it. and it worked
Awesome.
out pretty well.
Awesome. Well, I was going to say, Danica, before we get to the game, I just want to quickly mention that maybe Lloyd, maybe people don't know this about you, but you actually won a wrestling tag team belt. So I don't know if you remember this, Lloyd. This is from a couple years ago down at FSCW. This was in Miami, Florida, and this was you pinning Roadhog with Toxie in your corner to win the FSCW tag team champion belt. So this is you and Roadhog, and this is you and Toxie.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, Toxie really won. He was nice enough to bring me in at the end for the kind of victory moment. But he
for the pin.
He did. Thank you for showing that. That's great.
Of course. Well, and then, we actually named an entire belt after the Toxic Crusader. And we went on to have a lot. So there's Mick Foley presenting the Toxic Crusader belt.
That's
and
great.
The belt was won by, there it is. It's beautiful. Barry Boswick from the Rocky Horror Picture
Oh my
Show.
heavens. Wow.
Yes. And also we have a picture of Corey Taylor. This is Corey Taylor. Corey Taylor from Slipknot, actually.
Oh, yeah. We all love Slipknot. That's great.
And there's Toxie with his belt. So
that is so amazing. Wow. When we first made that movie, not one theater would play it. People didn't get it. Now it's amazing. That's terrific. And
awesome.
Isn't that what an honor that is? Thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah. So right now, Lloyd, we're actually going to play a game, and this is a game of Would You Rather. So we're going to give you two options, and all you have to do is pick which option, most, syncs with you. So here's the first one. So this is, would you rather have Toxie guest star on an episode of Full House or have Toxie guest star in an episode of The West Wing?
Well, if it was the real West Wing, Toxie's Tromatons, have an automatic reaction to evil. So I would vote that Toxie here in the West Wing, and the pictures are great.
Oh yeah, these are
and by the way, in the wrestling one, who was the first one you showed?
Roadhog from Overwatch. Is that what you're talking about when you were pinning him?
Barry.
Mick Foley.
Barry Boswick?
We set up Troma Dance Film Festival 20 years ago as a free film festival in Park City, Utah during the Sundance Festival. It's free. You don't have to pay to submit your movie, and you don't have to pay to see the movies, and no VIP policy. And he submitted his movie, and we played it, I think, the second year, and he came out, and we had a good time. And what a nice guy, and what a brilliant guy, a good writer. Yeah. Very good.
Yes, he is. All right, here's the next one. Danica?
Next one. Would you rather spend a night in a haunted house or spend a night in a New York City sub?
Well, let me say one other thing. Martin Sheen was in one of our movies, The Final Countdown. I didn't direct it. Troma had was one of the producers, but he was also a really good guy. And The Final Countdown, it's not a bad film. Could have been a lot better. Kirk Douglas, Martin Sheen, Catherine Ross, and it's aboard the USS Nimitz, sort of a Twilight Zone kind of thing. New York sub.
New York sub?
Oh, Subway. I was thinking of the sandwich.
Oh, now I'm hungry.
I would love to be a giant sub sandwich.
All right.
I think that's the night in the haunted house, because the people on the subway, you can't write that stuff. You can't imagine. The N train. You should ride the N train like I do. Not recently, because I'm in lockdown with my beautiful wife. But normally I commute on the N train, and the people around the morning, lunchtime, oh my God, you cannot believe it. You couldn't ride it. You could not. The amazing costumes. I don't mean good costumes. I mean just so depressing.
It's a very special place.
I'd rather be frightened in the haunted house.
All right, here's the next one. Would you rather, traumatize a musical like Grease or traumatize a musical like West Side Story?
I would definitely take West Side Story, because there's more one could do with it. It's interracial, and it's not. It's kind of interracial, and the Spanish thing, and the music is just so beautiful. I mean, Grease is bubblegum compared to, and Grease is great. And I worked on Saturday Night Fever, which was
John Travolta. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Travolta, and also the guy who produced it, a very good guy, Robert Stigwood. He went on to produce Grease and own Rhino Records. And I love the music in Grease, but Leonard Bernstein, if somebody's put West Side Story on the table and asked me to make a version of it, I'd do it in a minute. I love music.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh, I would love to see that.
Yeah.
All right.
Danny, your favorite musical?
Favorite? Probably Assassins.
Oh, wow. Good for you. That's a hard one.
Sondheim, yeah.
It's a very unusual one, too.
It's difficult. I mean, anything Sondheim is really difficult, but I gotta say Assassins is still, yeah.
Subject, too,
and
all those guys.
Oh, yeah. And also Jekyll and Hyde.
We saw that. Who did that one? I can't remember.
Oh, put me on the spot.
Sorry. See, my favorite musical is Jesus Christ Superstar. That's
what?
Jesus Christ Superstar.
That is one of our favorites. When my wife and I saw it on television recently. Did you see the version?
That is a great version. Yeah.
Alice Cooper as King Herod is just like a match made in heaven. So
and it just was so beautifully staged, and the ending was just, oh my God,
yeah,
so lovely.
Definitely.
Love it. All right. Here's the next one.
Oh, is this me? Okay. So would you rather squirt lemon juice in a paper cut or stub your toe on an anvil?
Let's see. That's a tough one. I think the paper cut. I would take the. You get some vitamin C at least. I don't think you get.
Fair. No. My mom is in the comments saying that her favorite musical is Little Shop of Horrors. I have to agree.
That's a good choice. Yeah,
that's a great one. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Very good choice.
Great. Seen it many times. I've seen it live 2 or 3 times. It's so much fun.
That's
I do love
my
it.
dream role, Audrey.
Still,
all right.
Still in my heart.
Yes. All right. Lloyd, would you rather be covered in toxic waste or covered in blood?
Well, if it's real, I guess be safer in blood. I suppose. I don't know.
You'd at least be safe.
The thing about blood is it's movie blood, toxic waste. If it's movie toxic waste, that's more comfortable. The blood is very sticky, and if you're outdoors, if you don't use the right kind of blood, the bees come and carrot and red dye, which is what we use when we're indoors. But a lot of people use it outdoors, and the bees and the people who are laying dead, they got bugs on them. And
no.
But there are ways to make. If you read my books, I give you multiple ways of making blood, both for indoor and outdoor violence, movie violence.
That is vital information too.
Yes.
When you squirt blood through a tube, that's I've seen it screwed up on big Hollywood movies. You have to practice all the effects ahead of time, because if you don't use the right blood, if you're squirting it like blood out of the rip somebody's arm off, if it's too thick, it won't go out of the little surgical tube. And I was on a movie called The Cell. I had with John Cusack, and the director had worked for us, as did the director of photography. So they were fans, and they stuck me in for a couple of seconds. And but there came a time when they had to create somebody getting his arm or foot or neck, and the poor special effects guy was trying to do it on the spot. They hadn't rehearsed it, so they wasted a lot of time on a Union SAG Yahtzee set while everybody's standing around picking their noses, and the poor guy is like, his hands are shaking, he's trying to get the tubes to work. Unnecessary. They have to test everything.
Fair.
So they always rehearse.
So do you have a recipe for toxic waste? Is that, you said it's easier
to wear? True. Good question. You're all great. And so much fun to talk to you. The toxic waste in Toxic Avenger, the most advanced was using agar-agar, which is a kind of a gelatin made from seaweed. And we had to boil this stuff 24/7. So we had people boiling agar-agar 24/7 to create that kind of slimy looking toxic waste. Now, with the magic of current day special effects, you can buy it. You can buy slime. You can buy. In fact, children are eating toxic. They sell candy called toxic waste, which is when Toxic Avenger was a cartoon. There was Toxie's Toxic Waste, which were little garbage cans full of all these little toxic waste candies. And now they ripped it off, and they just it's the same. Looks exactly the same, but it's just toxic waste candies.
Doesn't sound kosher. All right. Danica, you got the next one?
All right. Would you rather direct a children's movie or direct a romantic comedy?
Well, you know the famous 3 rules of filmmaking. Do not work with children, do not work with animals, and do not work with water. So I would go with a romantic comedy. And there's wonderful material. We get, if I got a good rom-com right now, I would make it. I don't know what I'm doing next. So if anybody out there has a good rom-com, doesn't have to have any toxic waste or blood or anything. It's one of a kind. Like again, like you guys, I kind of like the dark, like Heather and you, Danica.
Yeah.
I like the dark Hitchcockian. Marnie by Hitchcock, in my opinion, is the most perverse not rom-com, but love story, romantic movie I've ever seen in my life. It's
that's a good one.
It was not successful.
We love him.
All
right. I think we have. Oh, here's the next one.
There's more.
Okay. Would you rather wear clothes only from the 70s or only from the 50s?
Well, most of my clothing is from the 50s, so I guess somebody donated some trendy 70s outfits. I guess I'd rather have the 70s. But, well, no, I've got both. I don't know. I think that'd have to be a tie, quite frankly. Maybe a bow tie.
All right, I think there's one more. Oh, yeah, Danica.
Yes.
So cute.
Would you rather have Toxie be a mall Santa helper or a mall Santa either? Or Sergeant Kabuki Man be mall security?
Well, I think Toxie loves children. And Kabuki Man has sort of evolved into a drunk and very unreliable. He doesn't know how to handle stardom. Whereas Toxie's straight and true. He takes care of his mother. He was very much informed by Spider-Man. And, Stan Lee and I were good buddies from my Yale days until he made a noise like a frog. So I would go with the Toxie. And in the original Toxic Avenger, that is an adorable picture.
We can send it to you.
Yeah, sure. Anything you want us to put on our Facebook. I told the Troma people put this up on my fan site and Troma Facebook. But with Toxic Avenger, the whole community of Tromaville turns against Toxie, except for the children, his mother, and the gay guys. So that's back in 1983. So anyone who wants to say that Lloyd is homophobic, anyone who wants to say that Uncle Lloyd should be canceled, we find out the movie with all black people in 1989, Samuel Jackson's first movie, which is terrific, Death by Temptation. It came out a little too early because the video stores were frightened of the movie. They thought the black people would come in and burn the shops down. It did very well in theaters, no problem. But it was just one film too early because the next film that was in the video stores was Columbia Pictures' In the Hood, Boys in the Hood.
Really?
Huge success. Burned any video stores down. And Death by Temptation is the most bourgeois. It's just black people. They don't, they don't say bitch and all that. They don't say whap and whatever. They totally speak like you and me. In fact, if anything, better maybe. And Kadeem Hardison, Samuel Jackson, great music, but our country was much more racist, so we lost a lot of money. But it'd be very hard to I think people have tried to cancel us, but the fans come pretty hard charging to destroy the people who are full of Twitter hate.
Well, we just absolutely adore you. Like we love you so much, and at some point, Danica and I are going to have to make our way to New York so we can be in one of your films, because that is my goal and my dream.
That would be wonderful.
And I'll come assistant direct you too.
Well, the commissioner and my wife, the commissioner, Heather knows, is and I were sort of mulling over, and I interviewed a few producers, theatrical producers, about doing a redo of the Toxic Avenger in a tiny little off Broadway theater. And then COVID hit, and the more I thought about it, the more I really don't know. I love the theater. As a child, I was brought a lot. I saw a lot of shows. It was a big deal as a hobby, but I don't know if I know enough. Probably need you guys to, tell me what to do.
I do know
We're
a lot.
available.
I do have a master's degree in it. It's true.
Right.
And I've been doing it for many years, so I can help.
I don't have anything with masters in it.
I have two.
The third syllable, 8. I got that going.
So before we wrap this up, is there any final thoughts that you want to leave us with here today?
Well, first of all, thank you very, very much. This was what a delightful this is. And may I please thank all our fans in Florida. And where are you now, Danica?
The current moment I'm in Vegas, but normally I'm
in
Houston.
Right on. My wife and I love Vegas. You live in
I usually am in Houston, Texas.
Well, we go to Houston to the Alamo. Beg hard enough, they'll let me show a movie there. But I have to go there, and so we should exchange emails, both of you.
Yeah, you got it.
Well, I have Heather, of course. You're in Florida, right, Heather? Still in Florida?
Yeah, and I'm in Miami, yep.
Good, terrific.
Yeah.
Well, watch the global warming, of course. And I think the main advice to people who want to make movies that I would give them is I think you have to decide if you want the Oscar and the red carpets and the cocaine and the hookers. I think you really have to try to work your way up through the food chain out west, either through one of the vassals of the big conglomerates. But if you want to do what I did, through the magic of digital cinema, you can make movies now for $5,000. I mean, Shakespeare Shitstorm was $500,000. But we finance some movies that are under $25,000 by young people. So the nice thing is you can have a useful job, like be a nurse or a teacher, and make a movie once a year. Save up $2,000 or $3,000, go on Kickstarter, get another $2,000, make a movie, go to the conventions, meet Heather, and sell your own damn movie. I've written books about it. I've got a book called Sell Your Own Damn Movie. And eventually you may be able to make a movie the next year, and then the next year, and then you get better, the movies get better, you start meeting more people, you sell more Blu-rays. Maybe the conventions might screen. They have a lot of film festivals in the conventions, as well as the international festivals. And eventually your full-time job could become the part-time job, and your movie-making job could move to the full-time job. So I think it's good if you read my memoir is called All I Need to Know About Filmmaking I Learned from the Toxic Avenger, which James Gunn and I wrote. And then the second book is called Make Your Own Damn Movie, Produce Your Own Damn Movie, Direct Your Own Damn Movie. And the final book is Sell Your Own Damn Movie. And I think that would be good advice if people starting out, for sure. And watch a lot of movies. Watch movies like crazy. You learn so much from watching them. You get so inspired. Even movies that aren't the best. I just rewatched Children of the Damned yesterday.
Oh, yes.
I hadn't seen it since I was in 8th or 9th grade. No, 11th grade. And I didn't remember it too well. It's really interesting, and it deals with the superpowers that want to create war and don't trust each other. I mean, it's really good. Yeah. And of course, yesterday I was watching Woody Allen Bananas with all the inappropriate jokes that was triggered. So I would say, to thine own self be true, a phrase coined by one William Shakespeare, the writer of a great bestseller called 101 101 money-making screenplay ideas.
You're right.
Well, Lloyd, you are a legend. You are an absolute delight. We thank you so much. And make sure, once again, guys, to check out Tromaween if you're in the New York area, which unfortunately Danica and I are not anywhere close there. So we'll have to live vicariously through you guys. But Lloyd, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It has been an honor. Would you
What's that? I'm sorry.
Would you do us the honor of playing us out?
Oh, sure. Thank you so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Lloyd Kaufman.
Say hello to my wrestling friends too down in Miami.
Definitely will.
With Jericho and Dolph Ziggler, and they've helped us publicize, and they put me on. Jericho put me on his podcast a couple of times, and they're the public doesn't get that wrestlers are damn smart. Look at what's his name who wrote the book, who was it?
Mick Foley.
Mick Foley,
okay.
He's a smart dude, a talented dude.
Yeah, we've had them all on the stream, so we've been very fortunate.
I'm sure you have, yeah. And Jericho. Oops, I can't talk about it. It was secret. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Spoiler alert.
Uh-oh. The reed is dry.
It's okay. We're not here to judge. Beautiful. Wow.
Thank you so much,
right.
Lloyd.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.